charge up attack, that's holding the button down. Where's it going? It's holding the button down and releasing the button at the right time. That unleashes a bigger move, and that bigger move is going to score you more experience. So that's a little bit more skilled. That's more intermediate.
Nice.
So let's talk about a little bit more of a skilled thing now. What I can do now is I can just, if I hit the button at the right time, just as this guy is about to hit me, if I hit the button, I'll just get him, just as he's about to hit
Next one won't
me,
be so easy.
I can do that. So
Yeah, bleed.
now, no, sorry. I took a break. 1 second. So I hit him at the right time, I spun him round and I was able to do a death blow. I get about 3 times the experience for doing that. So we've got mashing, we've got flourishing, and we've got counter blows all on that one button. But that's still kind of not enough, we need a bit more. Now the interesting thing about this combat, it's, as you'd expect nowadays, it is physics based, so this is a physical weapon hitting things, and this world is described physically. We use Havoc to do that, and we score you for the amount of damage you do with your weapon against physical objects in the world. Now that's very interesting, because if I'm in this corridor here, if I can get this guy here against this wall, you can hear I'm hitting him against the wall, and I actually defeated him by smashing him against the wall. I'm going to get a higher score for that. So you get even more of a score for using the environment around you. You can also do things like, because we've got an AI system working, it's trying to work out the most coolest thing that you can do. The most coolest thing I can do at this particular moment is throw bottles, because I can't do anything with my sword. So you're beginning to see the sort of variations that you can get with the buttons. There's some really interesting variations with the environment, and there's some really interesting variations with things like loose objects and combinational moves. But that's not the sort of crazy magic stuff that I was talking about earlier. And what I'll do is I'll show you some of that sort of crazy magic stuff now. What I mean by that is that I really wanted to introduce something new. Now, everything I've talked about so far is, kind of pretty standard. It's nice to see it all unified on one button. Can I introduce something that perhaps you haven't seen before? And I'd like to talk about music and sound effects. Music is something, it's an emotional thing. It makes, great music, as we've all seen in computer games, can lift the computer game. Lift films, can lift your life by the music you listen to. So I'd like to use that technique in a fundamental of combat. Now, have you all, anyone of you heard of a game called Res?
Yeah.
You remember Res and all that musical generational stuff depending on how you played. And some experiments that we actually did with a guy called Jeff Minter a few years ago.
Yeah.
What we've done is taken that and applied it to the combat in Fable. So when you're actually fighting, you're also composing music. Now, I'm not going to say that to people. I'm not going to tell them, here's how to learn how to compose music. It's just that the style of your fighting, the number of moves you make, the speed of your combat, whether you're a masher or a blocker or a power-up player, whether you're an environmental user, will all unlock different themes of that music. And it means that the ultimate battle, the final big battle, will be a full orchestra playing because of the style of your combat. And that means that each battle that you play will be subtly different. Let's have a look at that now. All of this is very, very unpolished. But I really want you to get a feeling that this is something perhaps you haven't seen before. It's not only the music that is under your control. This is rather like all the heroes stuff. Not only the music, it's the camera cuts, the lighting, all is subtly under your control, looking at the style of your play. So let's have a look at that now. Now, this is not a brilliant example, but I only want you to get a picture of what we're going to be polishing in the next year. So I've got some bandits here, and I can describe them, and you can hear that There's some drums. There's some drums going off at the moment, and these drums are triggered by the style of my combat. So you just hear those drums are slightly different depending on what my blows are. For example, if I can try and get two of these guys at once. If I can get two of those guys at once, I'm going to get just here. There's a different musical track just coming in. So there's a big strum of drums going on there, and that starts to be really interesting. That each one of these combat things are unique. Now, one of the things that I really also want to tell you is the music and the combat style and your score is also modified by the weapon of your choice. You don't just have to use a sword. You can use axes, hammers, polearms, halberds, and daggers, and all of those will be different musical traits. I'll also say to you that there's one other modifier of the music, which I can't really talk about at the moment, but I think you could probably guess. Is that one of my favourite things in computer gaming is co-oping that multiplayer. And I've been not allowed to talk about that now for a while, but I will just give you a hint. That was fantastic. You hear how the drums all increase. I've got 3 people with one blow. So now that's really rubbish. And that's a rubbish. Sorry, I should be standing in front of the screen. And that's really the dream, is to create a really interesting combat system. Now, because I'm getting a little bit rubbish with this combat, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask one of you to finish the combat off, to finish this battle off. Because that was always my dream with this combat, to make something so simple that any of you could actually play it in the middle of play this in the middle of a demo. So would anyone like to take over?
Everyone?
So just press the blue button however you want. If you want to smash the button, that's fine. If you want to press and hold down and charge up, that's fine. You might find a problem charging up if you're in the middle of a lot of people, because when they hit you, they will actually they'll break the charge up. That was a fantastic movie. Very much. You just stay here for the rest of the day. So you can see what we're aiming for. It's really simple but really ambitious. It means that you can experiment with your combat. No 2 combats are going to be the same, because a lot of the combat is procedural. If you actually hit people against fences, you throw them up there and they land on something sharp, that will do more damage and you'll get more score. All of the music stuff coming together is trying to give you a different experience. Does anyone have any questions? Because I want to talk about one other feature. Any questions? Before she shares me up in the wall?
Just to clarify, earlier you were saying after button mashing you had like a rhythm with the pressing the button.
That's right.
So is there any feedback as far as am I doing the rhythm correctly? Am I not? Or
yeah, anyone else like to try? Anybody else?